When Russia converts to the one holy Catholic and apostolic faith, outside of which there's no salvation, there's only one true church, that is when you're going to see, and that's going to take miracles. And then there's also going to be world peace. If those things are not happening, then no matter what's taking place, this is not the consecration that Our Lady requested. Another really important quote that people do not mention. So this is why you do have to study a little bit and learn these basic quotes. But that Crusader Monique held up is great. This one was actually, it's very old. It's from the 30s, and we were getting very close to World War II. You could already see a lot of things happening, and Lucia was worried. The Spanish Revolution, the communists are already attacking there. And so she was praying, and she asked our Lord, look, why won't you convert that poor nation of Russia except through this consecration? Because she knew, if Russia converts, you get world peace. And our Lord says, quote, because I want my whole church to recognize that consecration as a triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so that later on my church will extend the devotion to the Immaculate Heart and place this devotion beside devotion to my Sacred Heart. So God is really good because he's revealing his intents to us. And we have to know that the consecration is not just something like, oh, what would I like people to do? Let's have them jump around and, do a few jumping jacks. It's nothing like that. It's really serious and really important and really precise with God. Ultimately, he wants the whole church to have a devotion to the Immaculate Heart and to the Sacred Heart. And he knows we're not going to do this on our own because we've got our own ideas and we've got these hardened hearts, and he needs the bishop and the popes to step up and proclaim this for the whole church because that's how things work in the church. So he's basically saying, I'm going to wait until the whole world recognizes this change in Russia, this conversion, as directly a result of the consecration, because it has to be attributed as a triumph to the Immaculate Heart. That's also why there can't be a long duration between the consecration and these miracles and the conversion of Russia and world peace, because then we won't make the connection between those events. We live in time, we live in history, we see cause and effect. So if you really just take the very first two quotes, the two most important ones, the one Monique mentioned at the beginning from June 13th, 1929, when she requests it, because she lays out the conditions there, and then you also take this quote from our Lord in 1936. And the nice thing about those two quotes also is, as Monique mentioned, Lucia, unfortunately, letters were forged in her name. People said she said things and maybe she didn't, and later on she would contradict. As you get later on in time, into the 80s and the 90s, there's a lot of controversy there, and things become questionable. So when you can go to these older sources, like 1929, 1936, that's when there was no controversy. That's when there wasn't this grave crisis so manifest within the church. And we ask everyone, do get those quotes. Again, that little pamphlet you held up, you can get it. It's a free download. Go to our online shop. You can download that, 12 questions about the consecration. It's a great little pamphlet to hand out to people. And then I think we'll all realize why the consecration is desperately needed and remains extremely urgent right now.
Yes, exactly. There has been no pope that has done the consecration exactly the way Our Lady said. And that's why we still keep asking for people to pray for this intention. And so right now we have our 54-day rosary novena going on. We urge everybody to please join this novena, but not even just for the novena. Make the consecration of Russia one of your daily intentions for your rosary, whether you are participating in the rosary novena or not. Definitely be praying for this intention. It is the only solution for the problems in the world right now.
Right. And so the last thing is in that magazine that you held up on the Crusader, looking at all the different quotes and the things that were said, and you'll read the article, so they explain it. It's really simple because as far as we can tell, and the experts on Fatima have said, they're basically these 7 conditions that it has to be a consecration. It's not an entrustment of Russia alone to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You can't take out that key phrase. It has to be done by the Pope. He has to command all the bishops because all the bishops have to be in union with him. And then it's on this solemn, it's a public way. So this solemn ceremony on this day of prayer and reparation. So those are 7 things. Now, again, I will emphasize here that we will always have a great degree of humility, try to follow Sister Lucia as best as we can read everything. These are the 7 conditions. If a pope were to do something and he didn't fulfill these 7, or he did more, or he did 5, and then we see the conversion of Russia and world peace, then obviously that's what Our Lady needed. So this is just like our best understanding of the whole situation with our human minds. We think if you do this, it's really clear, it's going to be really obvious. But I think the key is that it's going to reflect an obedient heart and a heart on the part of the Pope and the bishops who want to do what Our Lady asked.